This is News 14 Carolina meteorologist Matthew Easton. Thanks for clicking onto this Wednesday edition of the Carolina weather video. Pretty active severe weather day here locally in the Carolinas and across portions of the eastern U.S. Let me show you some of the damage reports from the eastern part of the country yesterday. And, of course, most notably here in our area, the possible tornado that moved through the southern Piedmont parts of Cleveland, in extreme western Gaston County down to around the Kings Mountain area and then down just over the border into South Carolina. The National Weather Service will conduct storm surveys on that area today. Also, a lot of wind damage reports from Kentucky and Tennessee on down through South Carolina and down into parts of coastal Georgia and Florida. Now, this morning we have some showers moving through the Piedmont and the Triad Triangle regions, and also just over the mountains. There's been some big thunderstorms up in eastern Tennessee, and one quick level 2 NEXRAD shot of that. There's been a tornado warning that was in effect for one of those storms earlier. Now, big severe thunderstorm warning at the time I'm cutting this video, and that activity will keep moving eastward. So the forecast for today, we have that wedge still residually in place in the Triad region especially. That'll be slowly eroding away today. How quickly that erodes will have a big impact on temperatures. I think the Triad probably mid to upper 70s today. Looks like probably low 80s as we go into the Charlotte region and probably Raleigh-Durham as well. And we're going to have that continued chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms today. And we do have that risk of some strong to severe storms again today. And like yesterday, can't rule out an isolated tornado. Probably the larger threat would be from damaging winds or some large hail, but there's that big slight risk covering a good chunk of the western Carolinas, pretty much all of South Carolina, western North Carolina, then on back into the Plain States. So we'll watch those thunderstorms very carefully. Keep us tuned in here on News 14 Carolina. All right, for tomorrow, I think still a few afternoon storms a possibility, but they'll be fewer in number as we're beginning to change up the pattern. Also, a much warmer day tomorrow. Most of us up toward the lower 90s for high temperatures tomorrow afternoon. And then the heat really builds. Let's go on out to Friday. It looks like we'll be well on up into the mid-90s for highs. Could be some upper 90s in some spots, and it looks like a dry day Friday. A lot of sunshine and pretty high levels of heat and humidity on the way for the last day of the work week. Now into Saturday, we're going to have a cold front move through, but it's really not a very significant front. I can't rule out a couple of isolated storms Saturday afternoon, but it looks like most of us will probably stay hot and dry. Again, mid-90s, maybe some upper 90s for Saturday. But then the air mass cools down a little bit for Sunday, the first official day of summer, as well as Father's Day. Highs backing down closer to the 90-degree mark in most spots on Sunday. And we'll go on out now to Monday, and notice the GFS develops this low off of the coast of Maine and tries to pull in some cooler air. Let me show you real quickly, the Canadian for roughly the same time frame. I know this is tough to see, but notice the low pressure area a little farther south on the Canadian and the European model. If that's the case, it would be some even cooler air that that low pressure would try to pull on in. So what I've done with the forecast, I've backed highs back down into the 80s as we get into next work week, and we'll see how that coastal low tries to develop. All right, that's it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Again, remember, when severe weather breaks out, keep it tuned to News 14 Carolina. That's Time Warner Cable Channel 14 in the Charlotte, Triad, Triangle, and Wilmington television markets. We'll keep you completely up to date. Everyone have a great Wednesday, and God bless.